Not everyone takes the opportunity to listen. Not everyone takes the opportunity to prepare themselves. And not everyone takes the opportunity to make the most of what time they may have left. This was something I was clearly and audibly told some years ago when in question of health issues, welfare of another. And when it comes to God, Father of Spirits, his words are so timeless. This is something I consider to this day. It still reflects on the need to consider, the need to listen, the need to prepare, to be ready, and to make the most of what time we may have left. We're in a time now, a lot of people, there are a lot that are on short fuses. We're in a very trying time. And I found myself being one of those yesterday, and which did concern me. And it even concerned me on getting on here today. I'm just being honest. And yesterday I had gone with Dave for his appointment with the cardiologist. And we're in a time where, everything is getting so blamed on COVID this, COVID that, and to have people mislead people to think it's all about a health issue. And I realize some people may not want to hear this, but it's not all about a health issue. And yesterday, when Dave was checking in, I had sat down on one of the chairs in the waiting room, and she told me to come over, and we had our mask. She gave me put sterilizer in my hand, washed my hands, gave me their issued mask. We already had our own mask, had to wear their mask. And then, of course, she took my temperature. And I can understand these things to a certain degree. And I thought it was for me to go in with Dave when he was called. And needless to say, as we went to the door when he was called, I was told I couldn't go in with him. This was all done just for the sake of sitting in their waiting room. And needless to say, that irritated me. And, as I said, COVID this, COVID that. And there's more going on than just a health issue. But the thing is, here we go with taking the opportunity to listen, taking the opportunity to prepare ourselves, and making the most of what time any of us may have left. And so needless to say, I sat in the car instead of waiting in their waiting room, having to clean my hands, wear their issued mask, and have my temperature. It had nothing to do with going back in with Dave. It had everything to do with sitting in their waiting room. And so I'm being quiet for a moment because there were some things he did want me to bring up. And like I said, I was concerned about today. And with that, he did say, speak up as he directs me accordingly and how it affects others. And this does affect all of us today. Because of my concerns of being short-fused yesterday, it, it, it did irritate. It did irritate me quite a bit to have this all. And in this, I, of course, I was in question of my own welfare. Was I listening? Did I prepare myself? And through the night, because I'm one given more divisions, but this was something I was struggling with as far as making sure my own feelings weren't in the way, the anger and the irritation. And so he was showing me in a dream last night. And, it's interesting in dreams, our own head knowledge, our ego is out of the way. It is to deal with things spiritually on the subconscious level. And he was showing me that this procedure that I went through yesterday just to sit in their waiting room, he was showing me this is the new norm with doctors, maybe not all, but he was showing me this new normal even after the mask mandate is lifted, that there are those who will keep it in place as if to portray for health issues. And here we go with listening. There's been a lot of questions on how, and I brought this up on the last live stream. And there have been other things he's shown me as far as in the spirit realm, to see in the spirit realm as it is, not just vision or dreams. And I was considering the new normal, even though it may not be healthy. You know, this whole cancel culture trying to sterilize our culture, and it's not healthy. And so he was showing me concerning in the spirit realm, a lot of people asking how. And with that, I want to say the one word that came to me concerning all these questions that came up with the word how, was commitment. It takes a commitment. And with that, he would have me clarify the list. A list I have referred to from time to time, and to clarify what that is, what I mean by that list, so others don't take it the wrong way. When I was a little girl, about 5 years old, God did pay me a very supernatural visit. And he asked me then if there was anything I thought to add to my list. Now, the list that he was referring to, I call my list of needs. This was a list that was put together before coming here on earth. This was a list of needs for a journey still set before me that I agreed to travel from beginning to end on the behalf of his people. This journey is as patterned after the true, as patterned after the Old Testament, meaning from Egypt through the wilderness to the promised land. But of course, between the wilderness and the promised land is a land of giants, with the need to overcome the giants. And in that list, I was about 5 years old, and I couldn't think of anything. I just didn't think of anything to add to this list. It was all good. Spiritually speaking, it was all good. However, he did tell me to check that list again, but with a taste of earth. A little taste of earth. And at that time, I'd already started going to school in kindergarten and had come to have a taste of bullies. And still with that, considering the bullies and not knowing yet how extreme it would get, but still there wasn't anything I could think to add. So when I refer to this list, I'm referring to a list of needs for the journey, and from the beginning to the end. And how is that possible? All things are possible with God. And it didn't mean all things were possible with Bobby. All things are possible with God. And in that, it took a commitment, because he let me know at that same time, he let me know that the veil was about to come down on my memory. So what all I knew and understood of that journey in that moment, it would be veiled. Not forgotten, but veiled. It would not be removed. And so in that, with the veil, he promised me, here we go, all things are possible with God. He promised me that upon reaching the journey's end, the veil would be gone. And it certainly was. But here we go again. All things are possible with God. It didn't mean all things are possible with Bobby. And so even now, even with these live streams, and I've noticed there's been less coming on. I realize Facebook is doing more and more to interfere with people connecting. But he has me still sharing. He says, share my story. But in that is to share, in sharing my story, is to share everything on that list. He met my list of needs, but in that, each need on that list was met by his hand, always by his hand. And so it's to share those things. And again, I'm being quiet. I want to do this as he leads me accordingly, as you need to hear. On that list were also the desires of another's heart on there with those needs. And together, before my memory was veiled, it was to put those things together and take them to heart and to keep them well hid. So when it came, the journey itself started when he clearly and audibly said, this man is an important part of your life. My question then was how? Concerning that list buried deep in my heart and with a veiled memory, I didn't remember what was on that list. I couldn't remember. I just remembered concerning his word as far as this man is an important part of your life. I just remembered on that list a spiritual-minded man. But as far as anything else, I couldn't remember. My memory was veiled. So my question was, how? And since a little girl, it came with that commitment. Here we go again, being told to watch and listen, but to be committed as in a relationship and to continue on in this journey. And so my question was, how at that time? How can I possibly be responsible for what I don't know or even remember? And how often we all encounter that. And there may be some not even aware of what they agreed to come here on earth for. And things like this will come up and you'll wonder, why did I think that? Because it's coming from that deep inner core knowing. So on that note, he would have me wrap this up and just encourage everyone to take the opportunity to listen, to take the opportunity to prepare yourself, make ready, and make the most of what time any of us may have left. He knows. And in that, I'm sorry, it's the cord from the earbuds that are doing this on the screen. But in that, to trust him, that commitment. How mindful are you of the Father of spirits? Are you listening? You know, as a father to his children, we are his kids. And to listen, to make ready, and to make the most of what time we may have left. So on that note, I'll catch you next Wednesday. And healing and health, as always, in the name of Jesus. And there are some here that are waiting on a miracle. And in that, Jesus did say, it just needs to be said here, Jesus did say to his disciples, the taught ones, ask the Father in my name, and he will do it. And so in that, for those waiting on a miracle, healing and health, his miracle working power, in the name of Jesus, receive it. Receive it and stay committed as in a relationship. We'll catch you next week. Have a good one.